Yo, this is Primate Rhyme, hanging out with Slug of Atmosphere for Primate City TV. How you doing, man?
Primate?
Primate City TV.
Like a gorilla.
Like the gorillas.
I'm doing good.
Alright. So you're playing at Ampere, Muffathalle tonight, with kind of live band. You got a keyboard player and the
Kind of
guitar
live band,
player.
yeah. Keyboard player, guitar player, and Ant.
And of course,
does the drums.
He's got to be there as your partner for years. So why playing with a live band?
I don't know.
You don't know?
No. I mean, we started playing with them back in 2005. And I guess I started doing it because I wasn't scared anymore. Like, I was getting on stage with my DJ for years, and the fear was gone, and that bothered me. Like, I didn't want to feel that comfortable. So me and Ant discussed what we should do. And we decided to bring other people onto the stage to kind of shake it up and make it so that, things could go wrong. Things could happen and break and this and that, more people to depend on. And that was initially why. And then over time, it became very natural. It feels very natural. It's still scary. It's still scarier than with a DJ just because of that human element, the ability to fail. But yeah, for now, it's, I don't know how it'll be forever. Maybe next time I'll just come on stage, just me and a stick, and just beat the table. I don't know, man. Yes. I don't really have a plan, we just do whatever feels good and roll with it.
So like at first it was like kind of trying to have a new adventure on stage.
Right.
Like,
and
break the routine and
these guys
them out.
These guys have been playing on the records for a long time.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah,
like you
for
started,
a long
I think
time.
It was when life gives you lemons.
No,
way before you started with
that.
live stuff.
God Loves Ugly was the first time live stuff started making its way in, mixing it with the samples. And then on Seven's Travels, there was a couple of songs that had no samples. It was just the live guitar or the live whatever. And then same with the Mohawk record. There was some live instruments mixed in. And then, then Lemons was all live. Or the Sad Clowns that came out before Lemons were it was all live instruments and a drum machine.
Yeah, so that's cool. So what brought you to the point where you said, let's not stick only to samples, but play stuff live, or let people play live stuff on your records?
I think just, we'd been doing it for a long time, like 10 years of doing the sample thing. And, you reach a place where it's kind of like, well, how do you challenge yourself? Like, what do you do to make it not so easy, to make it more difficult? Not just to be difficult for the sake of it, but just to kind of make you feel like you're growing or evolving or what have you, And now that we've been doing the live thing for long enough, it's like I need to figure out what else to do to make it continue to evolve, Because if I start to get bored, I'll quit. I don't want to get bored because I like my job. But if I get bored with this job, I'll quit because I'll go find something else to do that will be exciting,
So it's all about like next level shit. What's going to be the next step? Keep yourself like alive and
it's all about what makes you happy, and what you enjoy doing. As of right now, I have a new child at home, and it's exciting. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like I got to make sure the music stays exciting too, or I'm gonna be like, I'll just go play with the kid, because I don't need money. I've learned how to eat cardboard, plants, paper.
Okay, cool.
When I was a kid, I used to eat paper.
So that like kind of must be the reason why you give out music for free too. Because you don't need the money.
Well,
you want to make yourself happy and maybe make people like your fans happy.
Yeah, it's like money is a good resource, obviously, but there's so many other resources that you can accumulate with your art that it doesn't always have to be money. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to just see the bigger picture and see all the resources for what they are. And as of right now, in fact, money is not even worth a lot. And so there are other resources that, in a life sense are worth more than money even. So
strong community,
yeah,
for example.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So like the last album you dropped just came out like in spring this year. How's it going with the album?
I like it. For all purposes, I feel like it's been going well. You know, I haven't kept really good communication with the people back home. I've been on tour since April. And so I don't really know how well it's selling. And I don't want to know, because those are things that I don't need to think about when I'm out here focusing on this, you know? But the audience at the shows have been reacting well to the new material. You know, when you stand outside and talk to people, the hugs have become stronger, you know, and so I feel like things are going well, you know.
Cool. Already plans for the next record, like soaking all these tour experiences
Yes,
up
actually, yeah.
in your soul?
No, we have, or I should say I have started kind of projecting and even taking notes and ideas down for types of things that I want to deal with on the next record. But we haven't really started any real work on it yet, you know, and we probably won't get to until we get some of this touring behind us. So it'll be a while. I'll probably have a lot of stuff mapped out already by the time we actually sit down and start building out the music.
Okay, so as you said, Eyedea passed away. Must have been really bad and really sad for you. Anything you want to say about that?
I mean, whenever you lose a friend or a family member or somebody who's very close to you, you are basically being given a moment, an opportunity to learn more about yourself and about just your surroundings by, I guess, dealing with, you know, your emotions as well as the physical aspects of somebody being gone, you know. And having lost a few friends and then my father and then Eyedea, you know, I'm reaching a place where, not that I'm okay with people leaving, but I'm learning how to take it and transfer it into like the learning experiences that you can pull from it, you know. Eyedea passing, he was too young to die. And whenever somebody younger than you passes away, it feels unnatural. It doesn't feel like that's how it's supposed to work.
A friend of mine passed away when he was 21.
And so it's a thing that you have to, you know, it's just something that you have to learn to wrap your head around, because eventually you're going to die. And so this is a way for you to learn and experience those things so that you can explain them to your own children or your own family, so that they have a better place to come at it from when you are, you know, when you're going to die. But I mean, death is, you know, it happens. It's natural. You know, death is natural. You know, early death or you know, surprise death is unfortunate. But, you know, it's just something you have to embrace.
Yeah, it seems like something you're dealing with on Yesterday, for example.
Right.
Where you, a song that really touches me, and I think you wrote it for your father.
Yes.
But it can be transferred to any other.
Oh, yes.
To other people. Like, it's like, think of girls that didn't even pass away, but like ex-girlfriends you had or something like that. It fits to a lot of situations in my ears.
I mean, you know, I think there was a time in my life where I might have agreed with that, but now that I look back, I realize ex-girlfriends leaving was a cause to celebrate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because there's always some better that comes
or
next.
It's just a thing where it's like, you know, if this is where it is supposed to stop, well, we made it. We made it to the point it's supposed to stop, you know? Yeah. Now
then leave it,
yeah,
let it be gone.
Exactly, you know? Now, obviously, it took me a long time to come to terms with that, because when you're younger, everything is much more dramatic and every little thing is so important that you dwell on those things a lot stronger. But now in my life, you know, it's one of those things where it's kind of like, you know, friends, or even, you know, when people decide that they want to leave, I don't find that to be as tragic as when people are just taken like a death, you know? When people decide they gotta leave, you gotta let them do what they're gonna do. Friends leave, family can leave, you know, fans leave, like whatever your dichotomy with another person is, everybody grows and changes. Every 2 years we change, you know? So sometimes you gotta leave.
To not get left behind.
Ha.
maybe.
Ha.
I don't know. Yeah, that's cool. I gotta talk about your track like today, because I had it like as my ringtone and as my
Yeah.
alarm clock for years.
Me
And
too.
and I think it just describes the day like perfectly. It's just, you listen to the song and it puts a smile on your face like every second line. So that's right.
Do you know you know where I stole that song from?
No.
That song was kind of like a reinterpretation. If you look at LL Cool J's second album called Bigger and Deffer, he's got a song on there called The Doo-Wop. And if you listen to that, you'll see that I totally rewrote his song. It's like very different. His style is more glamorous, and it's a much more glamorous day. Mine is more realistic, how my day really was, you know. But yeah, it's interesting that you like that one. But you should check out The Doo-Wop by LL Cool J, because it's the same song.
Cool. So you think there's gonna be a part 2 of that track, maybe?
I don't know. You know, I never know when there's. Sometimes I do part 2s, but I never know when it's gonna happen. It's just one of those things where it seems like, oh, it's time to write that, you know. So sure, yes.
Cool.
I'm gonna write one just for you. I'm gonna write a part 2.
Thank you.
Right on.
Thank you, sir.
Right on. But you got to use it as your ringtone, though.
Of course.
Right on. All
Promised.
Deal.
So one strange thing, like in music, no matter what music, but especially in hip hop, is you start doing hip hop and you live maybe like a simple life, or like people live a ghetto life or something like that. Then you start writing about that stuff, and then you have success with that stuff, and your life totally changes. So it's like paradox. Like,
right.
You rap about that stuff, but now you ain't living that life no more.
It doesn't have to be a paradox, though, because here's the thing. Hip-hop music is about struggle. It's struggle music, and when it started, it came from a place of struggle, people who had nothing. Now it's reached a place where some people with hip-hop have gotten something. And so they shouldn't keep writing about what their life was like when they had nothing. They should stay true to who they are. Now, that doesn't mean they have to write about nice cars, but it's more so writing about the mind state that you're in once you've got past that struggle. Because I think a lot of people are being trained and taught that you struggle and you work so hard to get out of the struggle, but you never really get out. And so that's why you see a lot of people who come up from the ghetto who might reach a certain place, but they never let go of that pain, and that pain continues to haunt them forever. You know what I'm saying? And that's why you might see or you might hear a news report about a couple of rappers shooting guns at each other, but both of them are rich now. Why are you still bringing that alpha male mentality that you had to have for survival? You don't have to have that for survival anymore. You're bringing that over to the next level, and you're teaching us that there is no such thing as a next level. So if there's not, then why should we struggle so hard to try to get there? What you should be doing is teaching us, hey, when you get to this next level, here's the things you'll have to deal with here, but it's better. So you should try to strive to achieve that. Then it would still be honest to the struggle music that it really is. It would still be honest to, you know, just giving us the small little teachings that you could give us. You know what I mean? And I think it's a paradox because of corporate. I think corporate wants it to remain a paradox because that hardcore lifestyle music is what sells to a lot of kids who live it fantasy. You know, they listen to it and it's like a movie. And they think it's cool and it's tough, and that's good because it's good for them to understand that struggle, but the corporations go, oh, all of these rich kids are buying it. Well, we have to keep giving it to them, so make sure your record is still like this, you know what I mean? And that's where it goes wrong, is that the artists are not dictating the music. They're letting bosses dictate the music, you know? It doesn't have to be a paradox, though. You know what I mean? It's like these artists who grew up gangbanging, but got out of that because of music, could keep taking us on the journey with them where they are now. And it doesn't have to be like you're rubbing in my face that you've got a nice house, but it could be right. It could be more along the lines of, tell me what you have gained spiritually. Tell me what you have, you know, Because when you don't have to worry about paying your phone bill or your light bill anymore, what are you using that space in your mind for now? You know what I mean? Tell me about that. It's like,
Yeah, but maybe like a lot of them might only be using their minds to think about cars, money,
I
and
mean,
bitches.
but that's corporate again. That's the paradox again. You know, that's what's, you know, and that's the sad part of hip hop. You know, when hip hop first started, it was a very independent situation, and I don't even mean like independent record label. I mean like you're
Real
on your own.
independent.
You're on your fucking own. You know what I mean? And that was the beautiful thing, and that carried well into the 90s. Even when people started getting on major labels, it was still like you want to be your own voice. Shock G from Digital Underground, nobody else sounded like him. Chuck D, nobody else sounded like him. De La Soul, nobody else sounded like them. And this was Tommy Boy, Def Jam. You know, these were labels that were pushing major units. These were real labels, so it wasn't independent anymore. But the artistry was still an independent thing. It wasn't codependent. You know. I didn't mean to start lecturing there. I apologize for that.
It's good what you said. It's really good. So that brings us to Rhymesayers. That's independence nowadays, ain't it?
Rhymesayers, yeah, it's definitely. And you know, we're fortunate that we work with artists who don't depend on us. It's independent without being dependent. They don't depend on us to do everything for them. These are all Blueprint, Evidence, Brother Ali. These are people who, even if we didn't help them, they'd be grinding and trying to do it. And that's, you know, that's where we are lucky as a label, is that we attract artists who think like us, who want to do the work, they're not just sitting back like, well, just send me my check, you know? And that's what makes an artist and an audience connect. Yeah,
like
you know, because a lot of
the real own fingerprint and their footprints, because they're still taking care of stuff.
Exactly.
Not, my manager of this, that's my
you know,
my
it's like
merch
you have
manager.
a lot of artists in the music industry who let the label become like, kind of like, let's say me and you, we don't know each other, but you know, Troy knows both of us, and so Troy's like, hey, let me introduce Sean to Tommy. Troy's like the label. A lot of artists let the label introduce the artist to the fan and be the go-between, the person, you know. So I can't call you. I got to call Troy and tell Troy to, hey, meet, you know. And to me, that's another problem within it. Man, I don't want this to turn into just me complaining about what's wrong with the industry.
We got to talk about this stuff. You know, let's talk about it.
It's an interesting time, though, because I think hip-hop is at a great place after many years of stagnation and you know, just different moments of sitting still inside of boxes. Artists have been sitting inside of boxes. Right now, over the last few years, artists have been breaking out of the boxes. They've been challenging themselves and experimenting and experiencing new things. And so now most of the complaints that are to be had are really about the industry and about the corporations, you know? It's like, because the
industry is kind of fucked up because they don't sell no records anymore.
Well, they fucked themselves up. You know, it's like, but that's what you get. You guys made an industry out of thin air, like magic. You know, 200 years ago, 100 years ago, if you could sing a song, you'd be lucky to get a bowl of soup and a place to put your head. Out of nowhere, they created an industry like, hey,
millions.
You could sing a song.
Millions.
Hey, you know, and they got rich off of it for like 50 years, and then, you know, the foundation cracked and broke because the foundation was the fan base broke and started stealing music. And when that happened, everything started falling inward, kind of like if you were to take the foundation away from a building, and the building just started kind of collapsing in on itself. And now it's like they're trying to sign artists to like these 360 deals. They're trying to do all these weird new creative ideas with art. And it's just, they're continuing the problem. They're just going to keep breaking it down until we no longer need them to introduce us to the audience. And that's what's happening now. You got people like Soulja Boy who sold like 1 trillion, billion, gazillion records because he became a YouTube sensation and was going directly to the fan. You know, whether or not you like his music, you have to still see that as he is connecting with people who are hearing him and translating what he's doing and understanding it. It's still struggle music, even though he's teaching you a new dance. It's struggle music because it's taking your mind off of your struggle for a minute. You can stop thinking about your rent and try to learn this dance from watching it on the
Just a
YouTube
fun
video.
party.
It's just a fun party, you know. And a lot of times people want to discredit hip hop when it's a fun party, but it's like you got to remember when hip hop was born, it was a fun party. It wasn't about teaching you. It was about getting you together to make something out of nothing, you know? And so it's Soulja Boy, Black Eyed Peas, 50 Cent, Lloyd Banks, fucking Talib Kweli, Atmosphere, Mos Def, Brother Ali, Evidence. We're all from the same mother. We're all from the same tree. We're all from struggle music. We all came from Chuck D, Grandmaster Flash. You know, we all came from these things. We just took the pieces of them and translated them through ourselves. So you have Atmosphere, who has all these songs that are about thinking about things. You have Brother Ali, who is a really good representative of conscious rap. You have Talib Kweli, who also is another really good representative of conscious rap. You got Dead Prez, conscious rap, but also a little gangster. You know what I mean? You have all these
Revolutionary
different...
but gangster.
But you... And so it's like we are translating the voices of the people before us. And the people before us, they weren't all conscious rappers. Some of them were... Big Daddy Kane used to party too, you know what I mean? And so
but he's kind of conscious too. It's
yeah,
like,
exactly. You know, and that's what I mean. That's right. When I say hip hop is at a really good place right now, it's just the industry that's not, you know. But the voices.
But as you said, we don't need the industry. We can like connect directly, booking people, and
what we do need though is the radio. We need the radio back, like how we had it. When like 1990, I could listen to like the urban radio station in my city, and I could hear the Gap Band and the SOS Band, and then Big Daddy Kane, and then MC Hammer, and then, you know, Alexander O'Neal or Prince or something. You know, it would be like all forms of urban music played together instead of just picking one branch of the tree and playing it nonstop because of the advertising money. You know, and so that's what needs to happen is we need to take the radio back because internet is good.
Like We Funk Radio.
But radio is free.
Yeah.
Internet is not free. You know, that's something that we got to remember is that we pay for internet and some people can't afford that. And so we're separating the haves and the have-nots again. Those have-nots, they don't even have access to the internet. How are they supposed to come into this new era of life, you know? And so that's something that we gotta remember that we can't wait for too much longer. We have to take the radio back because it really is the only form of free communication that anybody has, especially now. I don't know what it's like over here, but they ditched all the analog television signals. No more analog TV. It's all digital
That's what
now.
they're doing here too, yeah.
And so it's a wrap. Radio is the only, because imagine, I hate to say it, but imagine if martial law were imposed anywhere here. Radio is the only way that you're going to be able to guarantee that you can get your voice heard if you were speaking or trying to motivate a group of people or a revolution of some sort. Radio is the only way you can guarantee to get that voice heard by people who don't have anything.
The revolution would not be televised. Just was listening to Gelska Tehran today.
Primate TV, motherfuckers.
Yes, it is. So, like, 1 or 2 more questions.
Okay.
What's your musical background, despite like the old hip hop stuff, Furious 5 and stuff like that?
I play the accordion.
Do you do?
Absolutely not. I just grew up listening to the stuff that would be played like in my mother or my father's car or on their stereo at home, you know. And so it was, you know, both of my parents were music lovers, and so they listened to anything from, you know, Roxy Music to Neil Young to Earth, Wind and Fire to Parliament. You know, it was they were young parents, and so they were trendy. And so all the trendy music through the 70s is what I got to hear as a kid. So when hip hop started happening, it was important to me because it was trendy, but it was too young for my parents. And that's how I knew it was mine. You know, it wasn't like, oh, I'm still listening to my dad's music. I'd see my dad be like, what is this? And that's when I was like, it's mine. That's what it is. You know, don't you worry about what it is, you know? And so most of my music background was just, you know, music filtered to me through my parents until hip hop happened. When hip hop got to my city, I was about 9 when I first started hearing rap music. And that was like 1981 or so was when I first started hearing breakdancing music. And then when I was about 11 was when I heard Run DMC the first time. And that's when it was over. These guys are yelling at me. I love it, you know.
Great records,
Whereas
great
my
records.
dad was like, these guys are yelling at me. I don't want to hear it. And that's like, then don't listen. It's mine.
Shut it off. Okay. Which musician would you want to make music with, no matter if dead or alive?
Ant.
The most.
Ant.
It's Ant.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
Yeah.
So that was Primate. Anything else you want to say? You want to get out there?
Yeah. Google the words net neutrality. And you'll come up with a lot of information explaining to you how there are mobile corporations working in conjunction with cable and internet companies, and they're trying to create two different internets, basically. One for people who have laptops and high-speed internet and Wi-Fi, and then one for people who only use their phones to go online. And the reason why this is important is it goes back to the haves and the have-nots. You know, when you look at people who are in the ghetto, their phone is the only way they do have access to the internet. And if you create a separate internet for phone and limit the amount of information that internet gets, you're limiting the information that we can give to the people in the ghettos. And it's an important thing. There's going to be basically laws over the next few years that are starting to get written to try and enforce this and put this in effect. And as people, we need to all kind of get on the same page and fight this. It's just for one internet, one free internet, you know, so that everybody has access to education and information about, you know, how to make life better.
Thank you for that.
Right on.
It was Primate City TV with Slug of Atmosphere. Thank you, man.
Ha! Ha! What up? This is Slug from Atmosphere, and this is Primate City TV.